Just imagine two immortal beings facing off on a godforsaken road. On one side, Ghost Rider flaming skull, chain rattling in hell, and on the other, Jeepers, Creepers, 20-foot leather wings tearing through the sky, yellow eyes sniffing out your soul. Honestly, I think even the devil himself gets the shakes when these two meet up. But what's going on inside these bodies? How does logic explain their immortality? And who wins this fight? Hold up, that answer comes at the end. But if you skip ahead, you'll miss the darkest secret in horror history. Stick with me. Let's break down these creatures like we're mad scientists in some underground lab with monster corpses on the shelves and chemical formulas scribbled on the wall. First up, Ghost Rider. He's not just some flaming biker. He's the fusion of Johnny Blaze, a human who sold his soul to save his father, and Zarathos, an ancient demon who feeds on vengeance. When that Hellfire ignites, Johnny's body dissolves into pure energy. No organs, no blood, just bone and mystical fire at over 5,000 degrees Fahrenheit. The skull, it's not decoration. It's the gateway to hell that Zarathos uses as housing. Physically, this defies the third law of thermodynamics. The fire doesn't dissipate heat, doesn't oxidize the bike's metal, doesn't leave marks on the asphalt. It's pure thermodynamic magic, self-renewing energy, fueled by the demon's rage. What does this mean? He can accelerate to over 300 miles per hour without succumbing to gravity, because the fire creates an anti-gravitational force field around the motorcycle. And when Johnny returns to himself, the body rebuilds, cell by cell, as if hell itself is stitching his flesh back together. Honestly, that's more terrifying than any horror movie. A man who is his own coffin, walking around with a suicidal pact. Now, Jeepers Creepers. Man, this guy is the nightmare biology can't explain. Many folks think he was an angel, like Lucifer, but God cursed him to become an eternal predator. And it makes sense. His body is a hybrid of fallen angel and prehistoric monster. Leathery wings that regenerate like lizard skin, claws that pierce steel like butter, and a sensory system that smells fear from 3 miles away. But the weirdest thing is his organ theft regeneration system. He doesn't have his own organs, he uses his victims. Lost an eye? He'll rip out yours and implant it. Cracked femur? He'll use your tibia as a repair. In biology, this is called accelerated xenotransplantation. Demonic stem cells that reprogram foreign DNA in seconds. He doesn't age because his telomeres, the tips of chromosomes, are infinite, a phenomenon that defies cellular death. And he only hibernates for 23 years between hunting sprees, recharging cosmic energy. Honestly, I think this makes him more terrifying than Ghost Rider. He's a cosmic virus, a divine parasite. Speaking of powers, let's break them down scientifically, because both defy physics, but in opposite ways. Ghost Rider operates on thermodynamic mysticism. First, superhuman strength. He can lift 50 tons a truck, because his demonic skeleton has magically altered density equivalent to cast iron, but without the weight. Second, infernal speed. The motorcycle reaches 300 miles per hour because the fire negates air friction, creating an aerodynamic vacuum. And the penance stare? Dude, that's heavy. It forces enemies to relive all the pain they've caused. In neuroscience, this would be like a short circuit in the prefrontal cortex, flooding the brain with cortisol until inducing instant PTSD brain death. Now, Jeepers Creepers, he's distorted evolution in action. Brute force of 5 tons, able to crush a car like a soda can. Flight speed of 125 miles per hour wings that use air currents like a pro hang glider, and heightened senses that detect fear 3 miles away. How? Epigenetics. Stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol, released by the victim activate receptors in his nose, which is 100 times more sensitive than a shark's. But his most sinister power is biological immortality, cells that regenerate even from decapitation within hours. While Ghost Rider depends on pacts, Jeepers Creepers is a self-sufficient killing machine. And weaknesses? This is where it gets interesting, because neither is invincible, just hard to kill. Ghost Rider depends on host control. If Johnny Blaze loses faith in vengeance, as happened in the comics, the demon weakens. Plus, sacred objects, holy water, divine symbols corrode his fire like acid, and the penance stare doesn't work on innocents or psychopaths. And guess what? Jeepers Creepers feels no guilt, just hunting instinct. Meanwhile, Jeepers Creepers has physical and divine vulnerabilities. Real fire, not mystical, burns his regenerative flesh because it temporarily destroys stem cells. Sunlight paralyzes his metabolism, his cells only operate in total darkness. And sacred symbols cause burns, a legacy from when he was an angel. In a direct confrontation, this would be crucial. If Ghost Rider hits Jeepers Creepers with a blast of Hellfire to the chest, Will it vaporize the stem cells before they regenerate? Or will Jeepers Creepers, with claws of biological adamantium, rip out Ghost Rider's spine and use it as a trophy? Now, let's talk accomplishments because theory is nice, but practice is scary. Ghost Rider once imprisoned Mephisto, Marvel's devil, in hell, defeated the Hulk in an 80s issue. Yes, the angry green guy, using the penance stare, and in the movies transformed an entire city into a personal hell to hunt traffickers. As for Jeepers Creepers, he's a serial killer with a cosmic resume. In 1930, he killed 14 people in 3 nights. In 2001, he took down a busload of students with a rock. Fan theories on Reddit suggest he even survived nuclear tests in Nevada because ionizing radiation doesn't destroy cells with indestructible telomeres. But let's think bigger. What happens if Jeepers Creepers faces a modern army? He's shown he can take down planes with one blow, but tanks with missiles? Ghost Rider's armor is made of infernal energy, so normal projectiles don't affect him, but anti-tank weapons might damage the bike. And Jeepers Creepers? He uses the environment as a weapon, tears out light poles to use as clubs, brings down buildings on opponents. Both are masters of lethal improvisation, but the toughest fight isn't always physical, it's mental. Sure, we've seen that hand-to-hand combat gets ugly, but what about mentally? Ghost Rider is driven by vengeance for the innocent. Every soul Jeepers Creepers has devoured in his centuries of hunting would become pure fuel for Zarathos. Ghost Rider wouldn't just be fighting for himself, but for a chorus of hundreds of victims screaming for justice inside his head. On the other side, Jeepers Creepers has a weapon nobody remembers. Fear. He smells panic. And who's under that flaming skull? Johnny Blaze, a human full of traumas and fears. Creepers wouldn't fear the fire, but he'd smell the man behind the demon. He could ignore the entity and focus on terrorizing Johnny's mind, trying to force the separation between man and monster. It would be a two-front battle, Zarathos trying to punish the monster, and Creepers trying to hunt the human soul inside. To complicate this macabre chess match even further, we have the battlefield. What if this fight didn't stay on the asphalt? Imagine the chase leaving the road and entering a dense, dark cornfield. Advantage: Jeepers Creepers. He becomes an invisible predator, using shadows and plant height to ambush, attack, and disappear. Ghost Rider's bike would get stuck, forcing him to fight on foot. Now, what if Ghost Rider purposely led the fight to an abandoned church in the middle of nowhere? Advantage: Ghost Rider. Sacred ground, even in ruins, would be like walking on hot coals for Jeepers Creepers. Ghost Rider would transform the battlefield into a divine trap, using faith as a weapon. So, before all hell breaks loose, let's lay our cards on the table. In Origin, it's demonic pact versus divine curse. In brute force, Ghost Rider crushes with more than 50 tons, Hulk level, while Creepers is an alpha predator with 5 tons. Speed, over 300 miles per hour on the infernal bike versus 125 miles per hour in flight. Intelligence, it's Johnny Blaze's human tactics and Zarathos' fury against Creepers' pure predatory instinct of millennia. Each has their key weakness, the host's faith on one side, massive damage, and the 23-year cycle on the other. But the weird factor is that we have magical immortality versus biological immortality. It's the pact against the parasite. With the stage set and fighters measured, let's go to the battle of the centuries. Picture the scene: rural road, acid rain, midnight. Jeepers Creepers attacks first, flying at 125 miles per hour like a missile, claws embedded in Ghost Rider's flaming ribs, but just slips off the indestructible bone, burning his paws in the Hellfire. Ghost Rider retaliates with the infernal chain at 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Jeepers Creepers dodges with snake-like reflexes, but loses a wing that regenerates in 2 minutes. Ghost Rider tries the penance stare, and fails. Jeepers Creepers laughs, a sound like tearing flesh. Because he feels no guilt, he hunts like a hurricane hunts cities. Without hatred, just function. In the final charge, he tears off Ghost Rider's head with a 5-ton blow. But the skull floats, rebuilt in seconds by the pact, and incinerates the monster with a concentrated blast of Hellfire. From the ashes, though, a finger moves. Regeneration begins. So, who won? Now, crucial question. If Jeepers Creepers was a fallen angel, like Lucifer, why does he hunt humans instead of ruling hell? Mythological theories suggest he was punished by God to eternally feel hunger, a hunger only human organs satisfy. He's not a king of hell, he's a prisoner, condemned to an eternal hunt. While Ghost Rider is a judge imposing justice, Jeepers Creepers is an executioner serving a sentence. This adds dramatic layers. One is voluntary, Johnny chose the pact. The other is forced. Jeepers Creepers is a slave to his own curse. Physically, Jeepers Creepers' circulatory system is a puzzle. He has no heart, but stolen organs pump acidic blood with pH, one that corrodes tissues and bones. This fluid isn't blood in the traditional sense. It's concentrated organic acid, capable of dissolving titanium in minutes. As for Ghost Rider, his blood is liquid hellfire, which burns even in a vacuum. If these two fluids mixed, the result would be a thermochemical explosion, releasing energy equivalent to 10 tons of TNT. Ghost Rider is motivated by hatred and guilt. Johnny blames himself for not saving his father. Jeepers Creepers has no emotions, he's guided by instinct. This means that, in combat, Ghost Rider can be emotionally manipulated by throwing his guilt in his face, while Jeepers Creepers is unpredictable, cold as a machine. In my opinion, Ghost Rider has the psychological advantage if he exploits Jeepers Creepers' coldness, but Jeepers Creepers is more tactically efficient. So, after this trip to hell and back, who's the true king of terror? A fire demon or a cannibal angel? In my opinion, Ghost Rider wins through magic, but Jeepers Creepers always comes back, and that's what makes him unique. And for you, who wins? Tell me in the comments. Drop a like if this duel gave you chills, and share with anyone who loves intelligent horror. Oh, and subscribe for more impossible battles. I promise the next video will feature a monster that makes Pennywise look like a birthday clown. Now the final question is for you. Choose your fighter. Would you enter this fight as Ghost Rider or as Jeepers Creepers? Comment below how you'd win.